think we need to start here, see. Sometimes you talk to people and they have a book coming out and you're interested in talking to them, so, the book is fine. And then other times, you actually are really excited about the book as well. And Kenny Smith's book, Talk of Champions, Stories of the People Who Made Me, this is... just the concept itself is awesome. And then Kenny is awesome. So we get a double bagger today. We get to talk to Kenny Smith, and we're actually pumped about his book. So Kenny, thank you for being here, and congratulations on your book, man.
Man, I'm excited. I didn't know that I would have this type of excitement. But, when you kind of go online and you look up books and your name pops up first, it's whoa, you played it I know you guys, you guys played and we played games and not in front of millions of people, but to go online and see your name first on a book thing is whoa, it's real. It's the world's gonna know my story.
Now, how many
so
drafts?
It's a lot of fun, man. I'm excited about it.
How many drafts of the book did you have to do? Because I know, telling the stories or having an editor, how many times did you go over it or rewrite certain chapters?
You know what the funny thing is? So 85% of the book I actually wrote. And I wrote it on planes, on plane rides. And then I had a great editor with Andy. He would just edit it. And how we did it, he never wanted to change anything. He said, he would only ask, well, you said this. I think you should elaborate on that. And then I'll understand. And he's like, okay, now I understand it better. Now, as a reader, I would know it better. And he'd show me how to kind of put that and contrive that together. And he was great in that. But, I didn't do 20 drafts because it was really, the book is about, it's a tell-all book, and I scared Charles and Shaq with that. I'm like, I got a tell-all book coming. So they're like, what? But it's about all the great things I learned from y'all. And I learned from all the great people that are around me. So each chapter is named after a person. Instead of chapter 1, 2, 3, there's Dean Smith, there's Bill Russell, there's Shaq, there's Charles, Michael Jordan, Kobe. Things I learned from these people by either watching them or being someone being part of my life. And you know what? I think you probably can figure this out. Some might have the same feeling. As I was writing it, I took for granted the people that was around me. I thought that was normal, that everyone had it. Everyone has a Bill Russell. Everyone has Dean Smith access. And I was like, man, I started writing a book and my editor goes, everyone that's in your chapter has a book written about them. I was like, these are the people I talk to every day. I talk to them every day. It's amazing the things you can learn. And I wish I'd have known it at 20 years old. And, so I want to give that information to the world.
I don't want to spoil what's in the book because I want people to read it. But sort of along those lines, Kenny, was there anything you realized when writing the book about what made someone chapter worthy to you?
Well, my parents, it all started there, and I started to realize why I think the way I think as well is because they taught me to be a good listener first. We always want to have our opinion and get it out and want to tell people how we feel. But I think being a great listener, what taught me from them was how to be empathetic, but not always sympathetic. So I understand why you might feel that way, even though I disagree with you. So, you know what? I understand why you might feel a way about, I'll put it in a simple analogy. For Shaq, he has a reverence to military and law enforcement based on his upbringing. Mm-hmm. And I don't have that growing up in Queens, New York. We don't have that same reverence. But I have to have empathy because it made him who he is. It straightened him out. It put him on a straight path to be Shaq because he was going in another direction until that military background and that police background straightened him out. For me, I have a totally different viewpoint. So I have to be empathetic for that whenever we're talking in social issues and go, okay, yeah, he's going to feel that way because I have to have empathy for him, even though I disagree. So being a good listener is what I've learned from them, which really allowed me to meet the people I met.
You know, I think if there was a Family Feud answer for what is the greatest studio sports show of all time, I'm pretty sure 100% of the polled audience would come back with You're Inside the NBA. And
Absolutely.
what you and Charles and Ernie and Shaq do, it's amazing. As someone who, broadcasts the NBA and who, works in TV, me, my colleagues, all of us were always like, gosh, there's just magic on that set. It's amazing to behold, whether you're a TV insider or you're, a layman watching, everybody connects. There's obviously a lot that goes into it, Kenny, but for you guys to be this good, this popular, this vibrant, this long, what's the secret sauce for your show?
And it starts with our producers and directors, because how simple it may sound, it's very difficult to do. You have to have producers produce, directors direct, and talent be talent, because a lot of times, you don't have to know everything that the talent is about to say, and I don't need to know everything the producer is going to do. Mm-hmm. We have to trust each other. And a lot of shows when I've been on, we all get 15 seconds to talk. And if we only got a minute to do this segment. But if I'm not going to, often I'll do this, man. I'll rip up my notes on what this dude just said. I'm like, no, he can't say that. I'm not, forget what I was about to say, but I'm not going to let that slide. You know what I mean? And we all do it to each other. So the notes in front of you that you kind of put, man, I'm going to get this point out about Joel Embiid. And then Charles just goes, yeah, you know what? James Harden is, man, I love his output. It's like, what? Can't let it go. Like, no, but Charles, you're 59 years old, 60 years old. Of course you shouldn't like that outfit. So I'm not going to just let it go and we never get to talk about James shooting the three.
What's great is you can tell that you guys are not like, it's not pre-produced. Like, you can tell that Shaq is reacting to whatever Charles is saying, or Chuck is reacting to whatever you're saying. Like, it's not something that you guys talk about before the show. It's actually like happening on the show. And that's what I love about it. It's like natural reactions, and you can tell the relationship between you guys. It's a genuine and real one. Like, it's such a great show. I belly laugh at that show 3 or 4 times a night, man. It's such a great, like, the chemistry there is incredible.
But see, it never stops though. Like most people think like we doing that and then it's like, okay, cut. And then no, it continues through the green room, through the makeup chair, through the locker room when we're getting dressed. So what happens that most people don't know is the conversation that you hear on air is really the last conversation that was in the green room as we walked out. So whatever was being said is gonna make it, because it was where we stopped the conversation. The conversation is all night long. And so it's never like, oh, we're talking about this now. We've been in the back arguing or laughing about whatever we're bringing out to the show for the last 30 minutes. And now you just jumped in the middle of that conversation. That's how it works all the time. There's never a point where we just make up something. Because nothing could be that funny that fast. It had to be building up. It had to be building up to make everyone get to that point.
Yeah.
But the producers doing such a great job too, because the illustrations, like if something happens, then like before the commercial break, then we see like a photo or somebody's tweeting or like, it's something. It all coincides, man. It's awesome
because they're part of the jokes. No, they're part of the jokes too. They know what's going on because they come down to the green room. They sit. They're hearing everything that we're saying. They're part of it. Honestly, some of our best shows, without question, are the conversations that we have with the makeup ladies, the guys upstairs in audio, and we bring it to the show. because they'll do surveys and be like, wait, they'll come down and go, wait a minute, we're arguing about Beyonce or whomever as a singer, and then all of a sudden, Shaq could be like, oh, Kenny sounds like Beyonce, and we bring it to the whole. It's like these inside jokes that they're bringing to the table. And that's what makes it. To me, that's what makes the show is when we bring the conversations from everyone in our staff. Literally, the person who is cleaning the set their conversation has made it to the show. I've never been on television and that's happened, other than what we do.
That is awesome, and you can feel that. That's all authentic, and you can feel that from you guys. How about what's your relationship like, Kenny, with all you guys off air, like in the off season? Are you constantly checking in with each other? Is it, hey, I'll see you in October? What's the relationship like as far as the friendships go amongst you?
Well, Shaq's always on a world tour, so he's the hardest and the easiest. He's the hardest and the easiest to catch. Meaning, like, you're like, okay, where's Shaq? And you don't know. And then you'll just land in the city and you'll get an alert. Shaq is performing at blah, blah, blah. And you just show up and he's going to see it. Like, he's here. Like, he's like, you don't know where he is, but then you know where he is. Charles is the conversation always starts like that. He FaceTimes you. Like, he's going to just FaceTime you. And then if you don't answer, he texts you, Mofo, why aren't you answering my FaceTime? So he's always a FaceTime. He's gonna if you're in the bathtub, he wants you to FaceTime, like why don't you pick up? Like, I'm not picking up. And then Ernie is more of the cerebral, as you would imagine. Ernie's gonna send you such the thoughtful note, hey, just thinking about you, brother. I hope. But here's a quote that I saw at church. And I hope you're living your life well. Like, how's the kids? And Charles is cursing you out every 5 minutes, and Shaq is just on a world tour. And he'll be like, "Hey, I'm doing this show like on Mars. Do you want to get on a spaceship with me?" Like, that's Shaq. So that's our relationship.
It's perfect because that's exactly how it feels on air for the show too. So it seems like it plays out exactly the same way off air with your guys' relationship. Man. Kenny, you've obviously seen the show grow in popularity through the years, where it's this staple of pop culture now. Even beyond sports. Is there for you a memorable or funny celebrity interaction when it comes to Inside the NBA, or somebody coming up to you and being like, hey, I watch all the time, or I love this, that stands out to you through the years?
Yeah, there's actually two, one on air and one out. Our favorite guy to bring on is Kevin Hart, because he's never off. He's always on.
Always on.
And like he's never gonna he's always like looking for that next big joke to make you uncomfortable. So like but the issue with us is we don't get uncomfortable. Like, you can make fun of us about anything. We're not really that uncomfortable about. Like, everything that you're gonna say about us that's funny, we probably know that's about us anyway. So it's like you're gonna make fun of my knees, the way I run to the board. Like, I know I have knock knees. I'm like, who cares? Like, you're not. It's funny. So I'm waiting to see how you can make that a joke. And that's, those are. I think he's our favorite to like have on air. The most interesting though, I was at a dinner and I walk in and it was right after COVID. And I have a good friend. He's actually in the book, Guy Oseri. And he's like, he manages the biggest people in music and everyone. And like from Queen to Madonna to like everyone you could, Alicia Keys, everyone you could imagine. And he's having his dinner, man. And it's only like 12 people there. And this guy's got this mask on. And I'm like, what's this? He looks and it's Leonardo DiCaprio. And I never met him. So I'm thinking, like, he doesn't know who I am. The whole dinner, he never says anything to me. There's only 12 people at the table. Never says one word. And then right at the end of the dinner, he goes, Kenny. And I go, yeah. And he said, no. I know it's you. I'm like, he's like, I noticed that you're running better to the board. Like, what did you do for your knees? My knees are killing me. I'm like, oh my God. Watching him run to the big board, man. Like, that's the coolest moment I ever had, man.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Oh, I got this trainer, man. I'm going to give you his number. I gifted him the trainer's number to help us with his knee. He's like, I got this knee pain that's killing me, man.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing, Leo DiCaprio. That is awesome, Kenny. Oh, that is fantastic, Kenny. You also, I mean, you see the way the game has evolved, and you were a guy who could really hit the three at a time, before it was extraordinarily popular. I think the most threes you attempted per game later in your career, you got up to about 4 threes per game, which at that time was a lot. I know. And at that time, it's a lot, right? How many threes per game is Kenny Smith taking if he's playing in 2023?
I would say anywhere between 10 to 12 per game. Because I would probably think 3 a quarter. I'm trying to get 3 up a quarter. And so, I just think that when I would take crazy thing, and when I was taking 4, I'd have to come into the locker room and explain why I took the 4. Especially if I was like, hey, open. I just feel good. I felt good. So, I had to explain it to guys. Now, if you didn't take the 3 or 4, you'd have to explain why you're not shooting.
Yeah.
And which is a different mentality. So, because we didn't look at it as a numerical, if you make 3 out of 10, you have to make, that's 9 points. So you have to make 4, 50% even as a 2-point shooter. Like, the calculations weren't thought of like that. Because guys were like, no, I can make 7 out of 10 of these 2s. So, no, you better pass me the damn ball. So, but now the calculations shoot it. So, oh my gosh, I was born in the wrong era. I always talk to Reggie Miller about it. If they redid our '87 draft, Reggie Miller would be 1 and I'd be 2. Yeah. We'd be the first and second picks of the draft. Where David Robinson would probably be 5. We're like, you don't need, you go rim running, just dunk it, and set some picks, big guy.
It's funny because we actually talked with Reggie about that, and he joked. He said he was using his parents' names in vain, saying, "You guys, you had me in the wrong decade. I'm a $40 million a year player now."
I was like, "Mom, man, could you have waited 10 years? Could you have waited 10 yees, man?"
Reggie be putting up 18 threes a game right now. 18 for sure.
He would take the same amount as Steph Curry, whatever Steph is shooting. Yeah, he would take the same amount, but the difference is because he was 6'7", which most people don't realize, 6'8". Reggie's not a small guy, and he's playing a 2-guard position, and most guys at that position are only 6'4", 6'5". He would just shoot over you, and the depth that he shot it. And then his constant movement. Oh my God, he would be a tough cover. He like Charles has a saying, what would he do if he played it today? He said he'd come into the game in a spaceship because he makes so much money. Reggie would be that guy. He would make so much money. He could afford a spaceship to come to the games.
That is accurate. Well, Kenny, we know you're a busy man, got a lot going on, middle of the playoffs, and also your outstanding new book out, Talk of Champions, Stories of the People Who Made Me, Kenny Smith. Make sure you guys go and grab that book wherever you get your books. And Kenny, congratulations on the book, all your success, and enjoy the rest of these playoffs. We so appreciate you coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you, Kenny.
Take care, Kenny.